This time on Watchers of Tomorrow, Rock Godzilla loves Kirk.
Hello everyone, welcome to Watchers of Tomorrow, the sci-fi review show where we put the humanities back into science fiction. My name is Gep, and I am joined as always by my friend and co-host Dr. Izex.
Hi.
And this week, oof.
Yeah, we got mud again.
That's it. That's the whole review. We're done.
Now, I think there's a little bit more to it than that, but only kinda.
So this is the third, and I'm pretty sure final appearance of Harry Mudd in the original series. They keep bringing him back for some reason.
Shows up a couple times in Discovery and Short Treks there, but in a much more, I guess, villainous sort of vibe as opposed to, well, this.
Yeah. So this episode is called Mudd's Passion. Already not excited for that.
Like, well, he could be passionate about reading, you know?
Yeah, why isn't it like Mudd's Passion? Oh my god, he's taking up fly fishing.
Oh, cool. All right. You know, it was maybe building miniature trains, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and retiring in his old age. This episode was written by Stephen Kandel, who did all of the Mudd episodes. He like the original one was conceived by Gene Roddenberry, but Kandel came up with the original concept for Mudd as a villain, did the teleplay for the first Mudd's Women, and then wrote I, Mudd, and this Mudd's Passion.
Yes. Yeah, this isn't his only writing credit. He's quite prolific, actually. In fact, wrote like a whole bunch of episodes of MacGyver.
Yeah. He's also going to write one more animated series episode that I don't know if I'm looking forward to, called Jihad.
Yeah, isn't it The Jihad?
Might be The Jihad. I saw it as Jihad in my notes, but anyway, it deals with, with religious extremism. It's fun.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't know this until I was reading up on some stuff for this episode. Apparently, Mudd was originally conceived as a possible intro villain for the Cage instead of the aliens, because they thought audiences wouldn't be able to wrap their head around aliens, and maybe they should give them a more relatable kind of swashbuckling human villain that could have been in any old Western.
Yes. So, you know, very much, you know, it's like, well, this is Western but in space, but so let's just import our Western villains as well, okay?
Which, like, as much as I have some criticisms of it as a show still, Firefly is the only show I've ever seen that has pulled off Western in space with any kind of anything.
Yeah, and it kind of very much fits the vibe and construction of their universe there, to have it sort of run a certain way, and it works, you know?
This is just Western tropes thrown on top of sci-fi conventions just to make it TV popular, I suppose.
Yes. Surprise! Star Trek is an amalgamation of tropes. Hooray!
So anyway, Mudd's back.
Yes.
I don't know where we're going to wind up with this one, so...
I got a few things to maybe talk about,
good.
But... Well, we do have Roger Carmel back as voicing Mudd, but he's not credited. So.
That is true. Yeah, I forgot to write that down. Mudd is back. Mudd is completely back. And oh my god, is he animated creepily.
Yes. So, you know, I guess they wanted to up the skeevy factor a certain degree, and they were successful.
All right, I guess let's get going and figure out where we're hitting with this.
Yes.
The Enterprise is approaching the Arcadian star system, specifically a planet called Motherlode, which I guess is some sort of mining thing.
I wonder if they're going to be finding lots of gold there.
Spock predicts that there is, in fact, an 81% chance that they will find the infamous con man Harry Mudd.
Why are you going so specific here, Spock?
I don't know. And then later they go like, we'll check your figures. Like, how do they know if his figures are right if there's an 81% chance? When they get there, there's either a 100% chance or a 0% chance.
Yeah, well, maybe they are doing a quantum experiment here, and they are looking into multiple versions of reality, in order to determine the actual percentage of times that they locate Harry Mudd on this planet.
Or they think they're going to find 81% of him there.
Uh-oh. Sorry, Harry, but you're going to be missing some limbs or something, hopefully.
So Kirk and Spock beam down to find Mudd giving a good old snake oil style speech to a group of miners. He's up on a stage and everything, made up largely of humans and humanoid wolf bears.
Yes, the Ursinoids?
Maybe. I don't know if they named them.
Oh, that's why I have my notes here.
All right. He is selling love potions, more specifically love potion crystals.
So it's just like crystal meth, where you like smoke it or something?
Yeah, or break it, or so. They're very unclear how you're supposed to use these things. It's guaranteed to make any person of the opposite sex find you irresistible. Also, if it's someone of the same sex, you're super good friends.
And that is all.
Yeah.
And nothing else. Just super good friends.
Just the best friends. Such good friends.
You're my best friend that I ever had.
He demonstrates. They ask for proof, of course. The crowd goes, proof, proof. And he demonstrates by having a random woman there who just happens to be on stage with him.
Well, hello, random lady. Do you have a name? No?
No.
Okay.
She starts asking him to go back to the ship and other suggestive things, and Mudd claims this is because he used one of the crystals on himself earlier. I don't know why anyone trusts this.
Yeah.
Kirk and Spock walk up to the stage at this point. Mudd dismisses them because apparently this planet does not recognize Federation law, so they can't do anything.
Ah, so they're outside the Federation then. It's just sort of randomly settled by a bunch of people.
Good hiding spot, I suppose. However, Kirk does tell Mudd that he can surrender himself right before Spock reveals that the woman on stage is actually some sort of pink reptile called a Rigelian hypnoid that was projecting a false image of the woman, and the miners start throwing stones at Mudd and yelling, so he decides that arrest is the better option.
Save me, save me! But, just don't be too rough and don't put me in actual jail, please.
I have so many questions here. Like this woman... It was obviously a fraud because there's just some random sexily dressed woman standing there. It's not even like he grabbed someone out of the crowd. Yeah. So it's obviously just a plant. Why does it matter if she's some sort of reptile projection?
It doesn't. It doesn't matter at all. He could have gotten an actress to come on and like, yeah, just be all over me and you'll get paid.
Apparently it was easier to get some sort of psychic reptile.
Well, maybe in the future, anyone that would take a job like this has just too much ethics for Mudd here. So
he also probably didn't want to have to split the money, but I still just question everything about this scene.
It's like this is just more convoluted than it needs to be.
Yeah.
So how about those putting sci-fi tropes on things?
Yeah. Oh, it's not even like, aha, it's his son, or you do know each other. My God. No, it's a lizard.
Oh, well, that's different, I guess.
In a Western show, this would have been a dude in a wig, so better.
I guess that's an improvement. So
On the ship, Mudd is immediately thrown into the brig, where Spock asks Nurse Chapel to do a medical report. She tries to compliment Spock, who immediately brushes it off and leaves, and Mudd sees this as an opportunity. Despite being very bad at manipulating people, he's able to convince Nurse Chapel to take one of his love crystals and try to use it on Spock.
Nurse Chapel, you're usually one of the smarter people around here, so this is kind of really disappointing.
And she keeps arguing. It's such a bad... She's like, no, why should I trust you? Because Spock's hot.
You're right. Damn it. Can't defeat your logic, Harry Mudd.
So apparently all she needs to do is break the crystal, rub it on her skin, and then that'll change her body chemistry or some such, and then she'll touch Spock and he'll fall all over her. But when she breaks the crystal, she immediately goes weak, leaving Mudd able to grab her phaser and ID card before locking him back in his cell.
Well, good thing you're too distracted by this love potion business to check your wallet.
Also, they have ID cards now.
Yes, that's new.
It's for some reason a huge plot point, sort of. He spends minutes later removing her picture, putting it in a computer thingy, taking his own picture, not changing the name, but his picture.
Yep. So now he is Nurse Chapel, yes.
And then using it on the computer later to open a door, like the computer cares what picture's on the card.
Maybe it does, and it's just really bad at everything else.
Yeah, what? When did we get ID cards?
Well, maybe after the nth time of, some, super being taking over the ship or something like that. They're like, maybe we should like have any actual like hardware security here. ID cards, that'll work, right?
Well, I was literally just now editing the Survivor episode where we said that maybe they should have some procedures in place to forget any random lookalike from taking over the ship.
Yes.
But apparently all the computer cares about is that you have the ID with the right picture on it, so I don't think this is helping.
Yeah. Especially since you could change out the picture pretty easily, apparently.
Yeah, the computer doesn't even question this.
Yep.
Anyway, Chapel heads off to see Spock. And the ship stops momentarily to investigate an unexplored star system. This is just important so we know we're near planets.
Yes. So, this planet is, uncharted, and despite it being next to other things that we have charted, so let's go check it out.
Yeah. She gives Spock a report in his quarters and accidentally falls down on him. He is perplexed and asks her to leave, making her very angry at Mudd.
Well, apparently the snake oil salesman has sold you some snake oil.
I know.
Yeah.
Later on, though, Spock mentions her name while dictating a report and goes, "Oh, lovely Christine."
Oh no, it actually works.
Then he immediately runs to the bridge and goes, "I have some feelings. Could be an issue."
Yeah. Because I'm like a Vulcan, and this is confusing, man.
I just love it because nobody's reacting. He comes up and goes, "Kirk, McCoy," and they're just sitting there doing work. He's, "I have some feelings." So he goes, "What?"
Impossible.
So Chapel returns to the brig to find that Mudd is gone.
Dang it. I've been bamboozled again.
He's used her ID to sneak into the shuttle bay, and she's able to catch up to him and confront him, but is somehow incapacitated.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how this happens.
He dodges the phaser, grabs her, and she is suddenly unconscious.
Well, maybe there's some after effects of the drug that makes you bad at shooting people and pass out randomly.
Maybe. But he's going to take her hostage, and he escapes on the shuttlecraft. However, while he was running around, he did drop a handful of his crystals by an air vent.
Whoops. Hopefully nothing weird happens with that.
On the bridge, they see Mudd escaping, and he has a hostage. This infuriates Spock, who demands that they go after his true love.
Spock smash Harry Mudd for stealing Christina Chapel.
Mudd takes the shuttle to a nearby planet and plans on leaving Chapel there to, keep her contained while he flees. So at least he's not planning on keeping her forever.
Yeah, that's something at least. It's like, well, I got a hostage. I don't really want a hostage. I just kind of needed one for the moment there. And if I leave you behind, they'll be distracted trying to pick you up and I can run away. Hooray.
Kirk decides that he should beam down, and Spock insists on tagging along because he needs to go save his true love and everything.
Spock, I think your judgment's compromised right now. Do you think that might be a terrible idea?
Yep, probably, but, he's too strong to stop.
Oh, I guess we have to bow down to Spock's superior strength or something like that here, I guess.
They go to leave, then crystal gas starts coming out of the air vents all over the ship.
Oh no, the meth!
Including an air vent that's on the transporter pad for some reason. I was watching this, and this popped up, and I literally went, that's not there.
Yeah, has that always been there? I don't think so.
That hasn't been there. And they just plopped down the drawing of the vent, like, right by their feet, so it's like a vertical vent on a horizontal surface, and
Yes.
It's just bad.
Yep.
It's bad.
So they got some exposure to the magic crystals here.
So Lieutenant Imrez, who's the, her replacement cat girl, and Scotty start flirting. Later on, they show that Eric's is playing a weird multi-armed guitar thing. Everyone's very, very relaxed on the bridge is the point.
Yeah, everyone's grooving, man.
The landing party materializes on the planet, and Spock trips on the soft sand and gets caught by Kirk, and they both get all teary-eyed and go, "I'm so glad that I have a friend like you. No, I'm glad I have a friend like you. Bro hug, oh my god."
Oh, this is the best friendship of all time, man. Nothing will ever compare to it.
They already acted like this.
Yes. But now they're being more vocal about it, I guess.
That's true. But this is literally their entire dynamic.
Yep.
It's like we're good friends and one of us doesn't have emotions. It's literally it.
I guess now they both have emotions, so it's different.
Anyway, Spock sees Chapel and runs up to save her because Spock love.
Ponfar, you know.
However, this is not the best reunion, because there's a large rock dinosaur thing that wakes up and starts stomping around.
Whoops, I guess we're going to be killed by rock Godzilla today, so let's try not to die from that.
Which, though, I will say, I did not realize how many references were in Galaxy Quest.
Yes. It's a giant rock monster. Go for his eyes. Oh, the ones here actually do have eyes. Okay.
Yeah, this one does have eyes, so fine. Kirk calls for beam out, but the transporter operator is dancing.
So, everyone's really, really getting into the swing of things here.
Yeah, the bridge crew is distracted. McCoy is telling stories to a woman who's sitting on his lap. No one's doing anything.
Yep. Everyone's in the Mackin zone here.
Mudd has no idea how long these things last. He didn't even know these things worked.
Well, so why did you have to swindle somebody to get them?
I don't know. This doesn't make sense. It's like he swindled someone out of a thing that they claimed did a thing and didn't believe that they did a thing, but they actually do the thing that they claimed, and he didn't know.
Maybe he was like, well, if you break them, you get some weird chemical on your skin, and that looks real enough, right? I guess we'll run with it. I'll take a dozen.
I mean, he just assumed that everyone's going to cheat everyone, so why would he believe that they'd sold him something that really functioned?
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, actually, yeah.
Makes sense for his character. Everyone swindles everyone. No one tells the truth. Oh my god, someone told the truth. So now they are trying to figure out what to do, but also there's another rock monster that woke up, and now they just have two of these things to deal with.
2 Godzillas? This is getting out of hand.
Kirk gets an idea, and he grabs Mudd's crystals and has them all shoot at one of the creatures until it roars, and then Kirk throws all the crystals into its open mouth.
Kirk, you got quite the arm on ya. Well, maybe there's low gravity here, I'm not sure.
It was very unclear what was happening, but I think what they're going for is that the crystals made the Godzilla thing love Kirk, so they start fighting each other instead of trying to eat the humans.
Yes. It's like, oh, you're trying to go after my new true love here, other rock monster. I will prevent you from doing this. Now we're distracted.
I was weirded out by, I thought that it was going to make the rock monsters fall in love and then they would leave.
Yep.
That's what I thought the plan was.
But first thing, it's like, oh, we got to very carefully touch Kirk instead of just squishing him. He's so dreamy. Come on.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to, stop trying to kill my boyfriend. Come on.
So anyway, now they're fighting. They have time to deal with stuff and wait for beam out because now the rock monsters are taking care of each other.
Mm-hmm. Like, well, we could just keep running away and hope we don't run into more rock monsters, or we kind of just hide over here, I guess. Plans, they're something we kind of do sometimes.
So back on the ship, everyone has a hangover. And Rez and Scotty hate each other now.
Scotty, cat girls are neat and such, but you have to be careful. You can get burned.
Now they're all done being flirty and relaxed and whatever. They finally notice that the away team has been trying to contact them for the last however long, and they finally get beamed out.
Oh, well, it's good we came down from our drug high, so we'll go rescue people. Okay, All right.
Back on the ship, Mudd's listing off his crimes. Spock asks Chapel to assist in the confession thingy, but she goes, I hate you now, and he goes, oh, the side effects of this drug aren't worth it, Mudd.
So it sort of does a get everyone super into each other and then really pissy.
Yeah, basically. So that's it. They agree Mudd's going to be sent back to rehabilitation. He goes, oh, but I would hate to leave all my loved ones.
Yeah, just go away, Mudd.
He evil laughs really often in this episode.
Yeah, well, Harry Mudd is kind of a awful person, and even when he's trying to exude like actual appreciation for people, he doesn't really know how to turn off that evilness.
Yeah.
Thus,
even when he's trying to convince people, it's like, oh, Nurse Chapel, you should definitely use this. It would help you so much. What was that? Nothing.
Yes, ignore my creepy laugh here. It's fine.
Evil laugh? What evil laugh?
You must be hearing things. Stop gaslighting me, Harry. Come on.
There's so many wrongs in here. I don't know where to start. This episode didn't really have a plot. they're really, what's weird, it's really weird because they're trying to do this pretty standard, like seen in a lot of things, this really standard sci-fi thing of, oh no, everyone's gotten love potioned or drunk or whatever, and now the crew gets to kind of play around and do fun stuff.
Yes.
And possibly even like express latent feelings or whatever. Right now you use it for shipping bait.
I believe there was an episode of Deep Space Nine that also did something kind of similar, where this person's now falling in love with this person, but they're falling in love with this other person, and you sort of test out various sort of ships there. Some of them really awkward.
Did that. I think Stargate did it at least once. The weirdness is they didn't spend much time with it. The animation doesn't let them do anything fun, like the actors don't get to play around, and they just kind of leave it as a weird side thing. And they've already done this in the first season. This is just a bad remake of Naked Time.
Yep. We're going to have something weird happen, and we're all going to be kind of out of character, but also kind of not at the same time. It's going to be weird. And we're just going to cut loose, and we don't have enough time to actually do that. Never mind then.
Yeah, rock dinosaurs.
Yes. Gotta have our action. This episode's kind of lame.
It's really bad, but there's something. I didn't find this one as very endearing at all, but there's always something that I enjoy about watching or reading really old science fiction and seeing how they deal with stuff that we kind of take for granted now, and just the different ways that things are problematic throughout history.
Yes.
If you made this in the 90s, they would have to address the "but it's not gay though" thing. Because in the 90s, everyone was very concerned with, but is it gay though?
It's like, no, it's just the chemicals working on us. We didn't have any choice. I don't actually have these feelings for you, for realsies.
Yeah, and they'd like have a joke where they're like, made dreamy eyes at each other or something, and then later it was really awkward, possibly, But this one, they don't even think they have to address it because this is the 70s and gay people don't exist yet.
Yes.
So they're just really good friends.
So because gay people will not be invented until 1984. They just like, we're just best friends forever, and there's no other subtext here at all.
Yeah, which interestingly is kind of how gay people have been sort of swept under the rug through a lot of history. While we go back and forth, we oscillate. We have several fairly distinct zones of dealing with non-heterosexual relationships, and right now we're moving from a completely illegal ban it and we don't even talk about it or think about it, or it's just straight wrong, into more of an accepted in society kind of thing. We're in the transition phase.
Yes.
Lots of older societies, it was just frickin' normal and no one cared. Greeks and Romans thought it was better than straight relationships. Yeah,
you're not, being driven to reproduce or something, I guess. So it must be true love.
Well, men are superior, so being in love with a man is definitely superior.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, you can't fault the logic. I don't agree with the premises, but you can't fault the logic.
The premises is the problem here.
But in even times that we would think of as very clamped down and conservative, Middle Ages, people didn't really talk about homosexuality as far as we can tell. It was kind of a thing that you knew about people, but didn't really matter. Even up into the Victorian era and a little after. No one really cared as long as you also had a straight relationship and kids, because that was more societal. You did that. You weren't expected to care about your spouse very much. That's a fairly recent thing in our modern history. The idea that you're going to find someone and care about them and then get married. It was kind of the other way around. You will be assigned someone or have a political marriage, and you will appreciate each other as someone that you spend a lot of time around. But, if you also have your best friend who happens to sleep in the same bed, that's fine.
Yeah, this is, we got the sort of the business marriage, and then we also have our free time and our relationships in that.
Yeah, as long as you kept up the business marriage to social acceptability, no one really cared what else you did.
You are reproducing at a sufficient rate, and thus everyone's okay.
Yeah. Now, the 60s, 70s were not a good time for this. Like, you didn't have a lot of the confirmed bachelor stuff. It was kind of a joke, but it was definitely in the moral panic era.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also sort of, I guess thinking back, it's like, okay, so the nature of relationships was very much changing at during this era, where it was less about, having that, that 3D6 kids there, and more of all right, you can actually sort of choose to have a family or not, and it's really kind of up to you entirely. And so those that are very much on the traditional mind, it's like, wait, there's this birth control thing, and there's people that might doubt that you have to have a whole massive family all the time. Well, we can't have that because that will undo society, and thus we need to figure out all the different angles that are being that are trying to undo this normalized setup that we've had for a while now, at least as long as we could personally remember, because we haven't lived forever. And we're going to go ahead and start trying to target and vilify anyone who is not straight, anyone who uses birth control to sleep around, all this sort of stuff. And we're gonna put those folks down as the anti social demons of our modern world, in order to try to prevent them from existing or something.
Yeah, and things I've read from this era, it's like same breath. Like I was reading a thing that was talking about the history of like comic book censorship. And it's like same breath, the comic books are promoting homosexuality and communism.
Yep. So we're just gonna group everything we don't like together and call it evil, and we're not going to think too much about it, because the people that we're trying to convince, well, we hope they don't think too much about it.
Yeah. And nobody did, because they didn't even have to address, like, you're good friends. We don't even have to, like, think about the fact that same-sex attraction could or does exist in any form.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they skirt around the consensuality issue.
Yeah. That was also a problem with this episode.
Yeah, the only two characters that we ever see. Well, we only ever see one character intentionally use it. Mud claims to use it to seduce a woman who's a lizard.
Yes.
But he doesn't believe it actually works. He's trying to do a con man sell.
Well, I guess it's sort of implied he's exposed to it later, but yeah.
Yeah, the only character that we actually see use it intentionally for its intended purpose is Nurse Chapel, which, like, we've already talked about in previous episodes, the whole femme fatale seductress crap that they keep doing on these shows.
But specifically using a love potion is an attempt to remove the ability of somebody else to consent to a relationship, which is not good.
Well, see, you get two tropes in love potions. Men who use love potions, it's funny. Sometimes it has unintended consequences. Like, haha, now too many hot, sexy women are trying to come after you. Isn't that hilarious?
I know. The giant rock monster wants to get hitched, Kirk. Oh no.
Yeah, but with men, it's either like completely creepy, like this guy's the creepy pervert character that we have to hate. That's less common. It's funny. It's usually a comedy beat, like Love Potion or Love Potion's Unintended Consequences. Sometimes you have almost this one's less usual, but I've seen it. You have almost a rom-com-y sort of, yeah, I used a love potion, but now I have real feelings for you, and I want to see if you want to be with me, even though I started our relationship non-consensually.
Indeed.
Which, like, that goes into the same sort of problems that the other side has, because that is just, that's the same kind of excuse thing. That's like, I claimed a woman, but then, like, she agreed to it later, so it's fine. Which is excusing men's horrible behavior towards women.
Yeah. Yeah. This sort of thing pops up again later in Star Trek. I recall an episode of Voyager where B'Elanna Torres gets like infected with Vulcan pawn far mentality or something like that. And so she's kind of like, I need to have, sexy times here. And Tom Paris is like, oh no, I'm going to be killed here or something like that. And this is sort of the thing that tipped their relationship into actually being a relationship down the road, as opposed to sort of frenemies sort of thing.
And see, that gets into the other side of this, which is when women are shown using love potions, there's kind of two things that you get into. One, it's a woman who wouldn't normally deserve to be found sexually attractive, who's using it to trick men. Someone who's older or conventionally unattractive, and then it's supposed to be funny / horrifying. It's like, oh no, what if you found this repulsive person who you're not supposed to find attractive? That'd be horrible.
But yes, there's it's kind of really kind of cruel, because it sort of implies that folks can't find love unless they manipulate people if they don't meet these sort of basic, societal beauty standards, and that's just kind of crap.
Yeah, it's almost the new version of the old sort of spinster thing, where like, oh, here's the not good woman who can't get a man, and now she's cheating.
So, she's manipulating the situation in order to get what she wants. And so you better watch out, otherwise you'll end up with the person that everyone's already rejected.
The other one is just a assault excuse. It's just there to justify it fully. It is saying like, a woman is going to use this on you, and then you are no longer responsible for your actions. Like, she seduced you. It's so horrible how women can so easily seduce the poor men and make them overwhelmingly attracted to them and do these things. And it's just it's ground into you societally so much and for so long that it's like your first thought when you hear about something like, oh, a woman seduced a man into doing something. Or like, it couldn't have been the guy's fault. Of course, there's just a tipping point that men hit when they just find a woman too attractive and irresistible, and then they can't control their own actions, and it's never their fault. Women shouldn't have been doing this, or shouldn't have been dressing sexy, or shouldn't have been in this situation. It's always framed as their fault, and in these kinds of stories, it's just another extension of that, where the woman is like using a chemical agent or a magic thing or whatever to artificially induce men to want to be with them, because that's just how women are. They're trying to take the choice away from men. Men aren't taking any of the power here. Men don't have power in these situations. Like, women have all the power and all the seduction things. So men actually can't have their own decision-making processes at all. And
so suddenly your big strong guys here are powerless before this power, and that's something that you need to be afraid of. And, even if, that's not actually the case, you were completely, beyond your actions when what you did while, under the influence of insert thing here.
Yeah, there's a historical myth of power inequity that pervades and excuses why the current power structures exist and need to be enforced. Men have to be in charge and have to maintain power and control over women, because it's actually women who are more powerful and dangerous.
Of course, that's bullshit, but,
Yeah, but historically, it's been used to excuse why the power structure has to exist and function the way it does. Similar to how we were talking about a few episodes ago with the witchcraft stuff.
If we let up at all to maybe have even minor equality, then suddenly, all the power will be going to to the women there, and we can't have that because, so giving an inch is giving the whole thing away. Yeah. So we have to be as hard-nosed on this as possible and ever vigilant.
It's the "but it will go too far" argument. It's like, yeah, we could try to balance things out, but like, what if it goes too far though? The women will take over, or the non-whites will take over, or oh my God.
Or whatever.
Like, I agree that power inequity is wrong. I agree that the system is unfair. But if we change it, it might go too far.
And we can't have power and equity that doesn't have me on top.
Yeah, because people don't want equality. Oh my God. Like, we'll reach equality and then fly past the other side.
And then suddenly everything is, flipped on its head, and we'll just have a different, a worse situation than we have now, and we can't have that.
Yeah, which is particularly interesting because that argument is just admitting that being on the other side of this power balance would be so unimaginably terrible that you're willing to continue harming people so that you don't have to face it.
Yes. Even if that wouldn't be the case anyway.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the case. And in fact, like, given the way we've structured our justice system, which I have some critiques of, it would arguably be more fair to completely flip it for a while, because it's been flipped for so long. Like, wanting to bring things to parity, like, is probably better for everyone, but it's kind of unfair if you think about it.
It's like, well, sorry for all that abuse for, centuries. We'll just say it's all good now, and suddenly racism is solved. Hooray!
Yeah, we solved racism in the 90s. Didn't you go to school?
I did, but I didn't buy it then.
I grew up in a place like so white that we had no reason to question this. Like, racism is solved. Yeah, sure.
Okay. What's for lunch?
Yeah. I see no evidence to the contrary in my vicinity.
Our experiences are universal, and we cannot ever question that maybe somebody else had a different view on this thing.
Yeah. Wouldn't they have told us this in school?
Yeah, if they didn't, then that's, then they're lying to us, and we know they can't lie to us, right?
Yeah. That's not what school is for.
Yes. Whew, that's got depressing.
Yeah. Okay, so that's how these kinds of media reinforce harmful gender stereotypes that keep the current power structure not only enforceable but justifiable.
Mm-hmm. So I had to think about snake oil.
Ooh, snake oils. That sort of works, doesn't it? Like actual snake oil from snakes. It does something.
Yeah, so that's the crazy thing. So the origin of the term snake oil is actually actual snake oil that actually kind of worked. Go back to the 1800s in the United States.
Done.
And you had a bunch of folks from China coming over and working on the railroads, because railroad tycoons are like, oh, hey, cheap labor, and so they and so there's a lot of Chinese immigrants hanging out with Americans as well, and the Americans are like, well, you guys seem to be like putting this oil stuff on you, after your work day, and they're like, yeah, it's this is a snake oil that this water snake from our homeland. If you put it on your joints, it actually provides inflammation relief. Though just I guess different sort of language there, but that's the end effect there, because there's actually a strong like omega-3 component to the oil, and so it's sort of like a pain relief cream that also happens to like actually de-inflame your joints there. And if you're working on the railroad for all live long day, it's kind of a nice thing to have. And so they started sharing it with other folks there, and like, yeah, and so we kind of have to import it, but yeah, this is fine. But then later, people were like, hey, we can make a lot of money just kind of selling things that we say do things, and we don't actually have to like have them work. We can patent them. We can put out advertisements on them and everything like that. So let's go ahead and do that. And so a fellow, I think it was Clark Stanley, maybe. Let me double check that. Yeah, Clark Stanley was like, all right, so there's this thing that actually works, but we don't really have these water river snakes here in the U.S., so we'll just use rattlesnakes. And so he started trying to sell his own snake oil, saying that they were using local snakes in order to produce the primary ingredient. And so you have a big show where he went around and like, I guess I'm going to cut up the snake and do the thing and boil it up and skim off the top, and you're going to feel fantastic. Of course, it was all the show. The actual stuff he was selling didn't actually contain any snake oil. And also rattlesnakes, which is what he was using most of the time for the demonstration bit, do technically have some of the same chemistry as the water snakes there, but like less than a third. So it was like greatly less effective, even if he had been using actual snakes. So it's sort of if this product was real, it would also be ineffective. So, but and so this is all part of a type of thing called patent medicine, where we have created this special chemical admixture that we're going to go and sell, and it'll cure all your things, or maybe a few select things, but that select things is actually a list of 30 items. And eventually the Food and Drug Administration became a thing, and was like, maybe we should like clamp down on some of this, because sometimes the ingredients for these various mixtures is like poison and killing people, and people don't like being ripped off by charlatans. So yeah. And so eventually they started like actually regulating this stuff, and the Clark Stanley Fellow in particular did end up eventually getting charged with fraudulent behavior under those the 1906 Food and Drug Act, I think it is, and he ended up paying a whopping $20 for his years and years of swindling people.
Oh my God, $20.
Yes, like today's dollars, that's like 400, but
1900s money, but
yeah. So it was like the 19 teens when he got all in trouble there, and so it was sort of very much all right. So this is kind of the well-known guy that everyone knows sells this stuff, and turns out he was a fraud the entire time, and because he sold snake oil, or at least something he claimed was that. Then that term snake oil salesman was kind of attached to everyone that sort of did similar stuff, even though originally the snake oil actually worked.
Yeah, it's like more of a, what would it be? It's more of a like don't put the wrong things in your ingredients. It's more of a fraudulent, like what you're claiming to be selling is wrong, not what you're selling doesn't do what you think it does.
Yes. So there is, I guess, a little bit difference between the actual sort of historical example there and Harry Mudd, but there was still plenty of other folks that would just kind of make all sorts of random claims about what their various product does. So, for instance, Coca-Cola.
Oh yeah, that would calm you down or cure something or other. Or a lot of the things that we think of as modern sodas, and especially bitters, like in the world of alcohol, like bitters and other things that you put into mixed drinks, often started as one of these sort of health tonic sort of things.
Indeed. There are a number of things that are still in the patent medicine that still make some claims, but are greatly reduced from what they were originally. Like, for instance, Bayer aspirin, still makes some claims on some health benefits there, because it is still aspirin. And now is actually regulated to actually have it. But you got other things like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, grape nuts, and graham crackers, which are all like, this doesn't actually have any health benefits.
Oh yeah, graham crackers. Well, that was just supposed to keep you from masturbating.
Which is, something that people in the 1800s and early 1900s were super concerned about. So, gotta have medicine for that too.
I love graham crackers now, because the modern graham cracker would just it would have sent Graham into a coma. He would have seen this, it's like, oh my God, the sin.
It's just too much.
It's got sugar and cinnamon and honey in it. Oh my God. Devil spices.
So, there is sort of a number of products today that are of the sort of same origin as Clark Stanley snake oil there. So I guess keep an eye out for that sort of thing. And I guess other things that are sort of on the used to make more claims, but now is kind of limited on what their claims includes things like Geritol, Vicks Vapor Rub, and Phillips Milk with Magnesia. There we go.
Well, something that's actually really important to remember. We had to discuss this with a friend of mine a while back. Supplements are completely unregulated in the United States at the minute.
Yep.
So anything labeled as a supplement and not a medication, it could literally have anything in it. And one place that you should really look out for this is those pre and post workout powder things. Sometimes have stuff like meth and like full on drugs in there. It's bad.
Like, oh, I feel super powered after my workout and applying the stuff here. Wow. Well, yeah, it's because you're high.
Yeah.
So it's not actually like making your muscles stronger or anything like that. It's just giving you chemical reaction there.
Mm-hmm. Which, like, yeah, you're just taking a stimulant, but you don't know which stimulant you're taking, which makes it incredibly dangerous.
Yes.
Also, it claims that it's not a stimulant. It claims it naturally energizes.
Because there are maybe 2 chemicals in here that are naturally occurring.
Yeah. So, yeah, don't, I take, vitamin D supplements and things. You don't have to avoid everything, but some companies are better than others, and the more complicated your supplement gets, the more likely who knows what the frick is in there.
Yeah, if it is promising you the moon and all the stars, then it's probably full of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So be careful out there. Buyer beware. We've done a public service here today. That's all right.
But also, snake oil is cultural appropriation and stealing somebody else's stuff, like whitewashing a product and selling it in your own, but doing it badly.
Yep. Very directly, actually.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's like prevented actual like legit oils of the snake there from becoming a thing in the U.S. because if you're selling snake oil, it's obviously a fraud. Well, this is like the original.
Well, probably good. We have too many endangered species from hunting them down for medical purposes.
True. So, but what if we start cloning all the snakes?
Just because this one might work.
Oh, how was it? Mud crabs or something like that? That's like super endangered because of this sort of stuff.
If you're getting with just any general medicine, pangolins, tigers, several crabs, there's a lot. There's a massive list of things like working or not working or partially working, but just a lot of the endangered animal trade is for various levels of natural medicines.
Indeed. And so, we got to be careful about that sort of stuff. But I guess I could talk about homeopathy a little bit, but that might be a subject for another
that might be a little long. Though technically most homeopathic medicines labeled as supplements.
Yes.
Which, given some stuff we've just talked about.
Well, I guess at least with homeopathy, they're diluting it to such a point that there's basically nothing of the original substance in there anymore.
So there's that.
So it's basically a sugar pill versus actual meth. That's good.
Which is better than nothing, and we've talked about placebos before, so,
yes.
Not exactly the worst thing in the world, but still.
Indeed. But I guess be mindful of what's up, and don't be pulled in too much by the jargon and the fast talking here on the stuff. So,
I think that
do your research.
Kind of gotten to a lot of what we could actually get to with this episode. I'm surprised we got this much out of it.
Yeah, I try to be full of surprises sometimes. Sometimes I fail at that.
I think we spent an hour talking about a 20-minute episode about love potions, so maybe it's time for the galaxy's favorite game show. Woo!
Hey everybody, welcome to the game show portion of the show. I hope you're having a wonderful night. You're all so beautiful and I love all of you. Hopefully I'm not under the effect of anything. We got our various contestants here. We got various prizes to hand out. They've been racking up some points here. And so let's get started here. The first one is the Dr. Love Prize, which goes to Nurse Chapel for putting to use Mud's love potion in a highly unethical move. What does she win, Gepwood?
All right. This one's for her, everyone on the Enterprise, Starfleet generally. I'm not clear how this works in the military. To be honest, I'd be curious to find out. But there's got to be an HR person on this ship. that you could
Indeed.
talk to about these kinds of things. Where is HR?
Well, they do have counselors later in TNG era, but not quite at this point.
Yeah, maybe the counselor should like, so you have thoughts about chemically raping a coworker.
Have you thought about not doing that? And instead, just talking to them?
Yeah, maybe we should discuss.
Yes, maybe try to form an actual relationship with them instead. Yeah, that would be a good idea. So, I think that might be the first time one of our the prizes there is actually going to like come true in Star Trek.
Hooray!
So, good job, Gepwin. Oh, our second one is the Snake Oil Prize, which goes to Mud for at least thinking he's selling a fraudulent product. What does he win, Gepwin?
Mud wins a wagon, some better stuff. Like, he keeps stealing ships, and that's the only reason that the Federation has a problem with him 90% of the time. So, like, if you just made, like, a space-covered wagon and wrote Mud's medicine tonic, wonder tonics on the side or something, and just landed it and sold stuff and took off before his lizard got discovered, he'd be fine.
Indeed. Just open up the side and have your little show, and there you go. Then things get too hot, close the doors, go and fire off the engines, and there you go. Ho-ho! Our third prize is the Heteronormative Dystopias Prize, which goes to basically everyone involved in the production of this episode, the network and executive meddlings, etc., and the whole society at the time for preventing a magical love potion from actually working for anyone not straight. What do they win, Gepwin?
They win just the modern gay utopia in which we are all going to get to live soon. The gay agenda is real, and it's better than what we've got now, so I'm all for it, personally.
Yeah, let's get some fully automated gay communism in here, eh?
Yeah, fully automated gay communism. We're gonna sell t-shirts.
So I'm looking forward to that. I hope everyone else is too. And go ahead and take us away, Gepwin.
Yes, thank you all for joining us, and we will see you here next time on the Galaxy's Favorite Game Show!
Woo-hoo, yeah! So, that was an episode.
Yep, that definitely was. It's okay. That was. Why does Mud keep needing to be a thing? Stop it.
Well, I will say that of the 3 Mud episodes we've covered, that I think I prefer iMud to either of the other 2.
Yeah.
Even though it still has its own problems.
Has a lot of problems. Mud gets, like, more villainous and gets his comeuppance, I suppose. So.
Yeah, well, I guess he's villainous in the taking hostages in this episode, but yeah, he's basically taking the entire ship hostage the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess there's also the aspect of, all right, this is a time for the crew to have like some improv here and be really strange, and that was weird, but kind of interesting to watch.
All right, so next week, I'm seeing the word Gulliver's Travels a lot.
Oh yeah. Are we going to be big or small here?
I don't know. People always forget the big bit when they do Gulliver's Travels, because everyone remembers that old cartoon, which is
all like tied down and such.
Way older than I thought it was. I was looking this up a little bit ago. That cartoon is way older than I thought it was. It's insane, because I remember watching that
60s?
as a kid. 39.
39, wow.
Yeah, full-length animated feature came out in 39.
Really back there, eh?
Yeah, then there was the Jack Black movie more recently.
Yes. Yeah, Jack Black's been in a lot of random sort of fairy tale-ish sort of movies, hasn't he?
Yeah. And then when was this? In 96, there was that mini-series.
I think I vaguely remember that.
Me too. I vaguely remember it. I had forgotten, though. It stars Ted Danson. Seems like an interesting choice for Gulliver there.
Yeah. Does this mean we're going to get Ted Danson in this episode?
I hope so. That'd be great. What was he doing in the 70s?
I don't know. Maybe college? I don't know.
But that would be amazing. I would love that. Now I need to look up this miniseries again. See, the thing that always gets me, people love Gulliver's Travels. They love to do their Gulliver's Travels thing. They love to do big person, little person comedy. They always forget Gulliver's Travels was a satire.
Yes. It's like, all about the power dynamics and how silly people can be, and yeah.
In fact, it's pretty much a direct early precursor to science fiction, where this guy is going on voyages to different islands, and every island has its own weird society that critiques something about modern society in a funny way.
So very much Planet of the Week, except islands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was an Island of the Week adventure.
Cool.
Yeah, which is what Star Trek is, just with planets. So anyway, I'm 100% sure we're not doing that. Is basically my point. All the stuff I just said, probably not.
Yes.
I'm gonna guess this is a lot more Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
as opposed to than political commentary.
Yeah. Old satirical. When was that book? When was that book written? Oh, Jonathan Swift. I didn't know that. That explains the satire. 1726. Cool. 1726.
So we will not be traveling back to 1726. Instead, we'll be
we'll be traveling forward to
the 70s.
Random time. Yeah. Okay. So also, I should mention this took me a minute. There's some confusion on whether this Territon incident or time trap came first. I'm going by the order on my DVDs. So
let's roll with that.
So next episode is going to be Territon Incident, and we'll have to do Time Trap after that because no one can agree what order these dang things played in because it's the animated series and nothing can be simple. But yeah, I'm seeing Honey, I Shrunk the Kids shenanigans, something about spiroid radiation.
Okay.
We're going to have some physics talks here.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so Honey, I Shrunk the Kids without the fun ant friend, I'm assuming. Next week on Watchers of Tomorrow.
Next time on Watchers of Tomorrow, the crew becomes small and tiny. You have been listening to Watchers of Tomorrow, a podcast on science fiction media. Find and follow Watchers of Tomorrow on Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, Spreader, Digital Podcast, and perhaps many more to come. If you enjoy our podcast, make sure to subscribe for more. And where possible, make sure to rate your experience or leave us a review. You may find Gepwin on youtube.com/Gepwin and Twitter @Gepwin. You may find me, Dr. Isix, on youtube.com/Dr. Isix and Twitter @IsixLP. Music is Waveform and Mori's Principle, both by DRKRN. You can also check out the Watchers of Tomorrow Discord channel. Make sure to share the experience with your friends, family, enemies, and alien overlords. If you feel you are suffering from transporter syndrome, please be aware that the next time you step off the transporter, that you, that is now, no longer exists.